Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Purple Breakdown. I am your host, Alex, and I'm so glad to be back here on another episode of the Purple Breakdown with you. Happy Thursday, and I hope everyone's having a great Thursday. We're one day away from the weekend. So excited to be almost there. I don't have work tomorrow, so I don't have to be in work tomorrow. However, I will be a little busy this weekend. Unfortunately, I won't be able to put out videos really all that much Friday or Saturday. I will be back on Sunday, but Friday and Saturday I won't be able to. I'll be visiting my girlfriend and going and watching a hockey game with her, so I will be busy tomorrow night doing that, and then with her on Saturday and part of Sunday, so I'll be a little busy those 3 days. And if a major news comes out, I'll make a short about it and get it out there, but just know I really won't be able to make one Friday or Saturday, a long form like this. But I'm glad to be back today, and I hope everyone has had an amazing Thursday and is going to have an amazing Friday. And we're here to talk Ravens, so let's get in and let's talk Ravens. Real quick first, though, if you enjoyed the content that you hear, please consider subscribing, liking the video, and commenting. I'm doing my new segment where every time I make a video, I will go in and take some of the top comments that are on the videos, questions, or ones that really look good, shout them out, answer them here on the podcast like this. It's really hard to do live podcasts, so this is a way to have more engagement and for me to give shout outs that way. Unfortunately, past video didn't have any comments on it, or neither did any of the shorts, so we won't be doing that on this one today. Instead, we'll pick that segment up the next time we do get comments. Please comment so that I can do that. Makes a lot of fun. I love hearing from you guys. Again, I read your comments, I read all of them, I respond to them all, and it makes my day when you do, so please comment so that I can get this segment up and running more often. Alright, let's jump in and let's go. So, we are 6 days out from free agency opening up. It opens up on March 11th, and that's when free agents, all those 24 free agents for the Ravens, said if none of them have re-signed at that point, they hit open market. Ravens got to be thinking ahead right now. We went on to this yesterday. Ravens got to be thinking about ahead who to bring back right now. And even before open market has happened, I think this is interesting. We just got to go in. There have been so many trades before free agency and the open market is hitting. I mean, so far, there have been 5 trades. The Lions traded David Montgomery to the Texans. The Bears just traded DJ Moore to the Bills, which is massive upgrade at wide receiver for them and the Bills. It's going to help the Bills out a lot right there. And the Ravens do have to play the Bills again this year. So that'll be a tough matchup that they're adding talent on. The Chiefs traded Trent McDuffie to the Rams. Titus Howard is traded to the Browns from the Texans, and the Titans traded Devondre Sweat to the Jets for Jermaine Johnson II. So those have been those 5 trades that have happened already, and they're going every which way. So trades are already happening. Open market free agency hasn't even started yet, and yet a whole bunch of teams are trading all over the place. And I feel like as Ravens fans, we may be sitting here and going, well, we're feeling a little left out. And understand there are some trade rumors going around for the Ravens right now on who they could be going for. The 2 large trade rumors right now are apparently the Ravens are still keeping tabs on Max Crosby. Now understand, if the Ravens go for Max Crosby, it is a massive contract value. It is $35 million a year, and it's going to cost a lot of draft capital. It's going to cost at least 2 first-round picks plus some players probably. So that's a lot of capital to get Max Crosby, and I still don't stand by it. I don't like it. I don't think it solves the Ravens' problems. I don't think it'll do much to help the Ravens be a successful winning team this next year, even though he's an amazing player. You got to come in waves, and one player is not going to solve all your problems. The other one is A.J. Brown. And A.J. Brown, you could get for a lot less draft capital, and I went into this yesterday based off one of the questions from that news segment that we did. Remember, A.J. Brown will cost you a lot less draft capital. It could cost the Ravens just a second-round pick, possibly. Maybe they give up a second and one player like Tavius Robinson, or heck, yeah, you could give up Rashad Bateman, and I'd be fine with that, even though Bateman will have confidence with Declan Doyle right now, and that the Ravens feel confident in him. I would not be that upset seeing him traded out in a way. And so those are the 2 big rumors that the Ravens have going around right now. And then I also just read an interesting article that was put out by Sport Heavy, I believe, that put their thoughts out on the Ravens trading for Ben Powers off the Broncos because the Broncos are one of those teams that need to open up cap space, and he costs about an $18 million cap space, and they trade after June 1st deadline that they could save about $12 million there, and the Ravens could use the extra guard help. I don't know if the Ravens will go through with this, but it's just a thought to stay out there. I think the Ravens are probably going to go guard more through the draft as of right now, and would rather focus on getting a center in the free agency as it stands at this moment, especially since Daniel Faalele is one of those free agents that none of the Ravens fans really like, and none of us really think he will stay there. So, that's the trade rumors for the Ravens. Now, understand, even though the Ravens, as Ravens fans, we may be feeling left out of all these trades happening, DeCosta is very trade savvy, and he doesn't trade without a purpose. All his trades are a purpose, and he's very much right time, right place when it comes to trades. So don't expect the Ravens to go out there and be trying to make these blockbuster trades or anything when he doesn't view it as what will bring the team success. And honestly, him looking at it and saying that way, I agree with how he's taking that approach, because you have to take a look at the whole needs of the Ravens as a whole and understand that taking one player and trading for one player is not going to solve the whole of the team's needs. And if you're taking up too much cap space to do that, you're making it harder to fill the other needs. So we will see if the Ravens are able to accomplish any trades coming up over the next few weeks. And I wouldn't be surprised if DeCosta does do a trade, but the Ravens have enough draft capital to do that. But just don't expect them to be going for the big name trades and trading all over the board, because DeCosta is very trade savvy, and it's got to be for the right value. It has to be the right value at the right time, right place. That is DeCosta. Now, looking a little ahead into free agency, I want to look at two things today. First off, one, Ravens free agents, those 24 free agents, several of them, quite a few of them, are getting eyed up right now by other teams. And it's not without surprise that multiple are getting eyed up by other teams. And I think the obvious one, again, is Tyler Linderbaum is getting eyed up by every other center-needy team right now, and that there's multiple that are reportedly ready to just offer him a blank check and let him be their center. And so the Ravens got to be looking ahead here, and this is how I started the podcast off, but the Ravens got to be looking ahead and going, who are those ones that need to be re-signed right now? Because as soon as they hit open market, they may be gone. And you got to look at that and go, okay, who's getting eyed up and who's going to get taken as soon as the market hits? And I would argue to say that Tyler Linderbaum, well, if he hits open market, he's gone. Isaiah Likely is getting eyed up by multiple teams. I heard the Titans could be looking at him. I heard the Saints could be looking at him. So you have multiple that are already looking that way. And so you have two on that list, and then I honestly believe that multiple are going to be looking up Ardarius Washington and Alohi Gilman already, and Draymond Jones. So you got multiple on this list that are already looking at which way do they go and how do you get it. And some of these are critical pieces to the Ravens that need to be kept around. And Patrick Ricard is also more than likely getting eyed up by other teams already at this moment either. So the Ravens, what I'm getting at here is they really got to make their decision quickly and start getting contracts going out and ready to go. And I think this is all, they're taking their time and waiting a minute because they're waiting on Lamar's contract to get done and for Lamar to finish up his contract extension so they know how much free agency cap space they have and who they can sign. But they got to start getting on this now and getting ready, because as soon as these free agents start hitting the market, a chunk of them are just going to go and be gone. It's unfortunate to say that, but the Ravens do have that much talent on the team and had that much talent on the team that it will go, which is part of the reason why the Ravens, as fans, were always looking and going, well, we expect Super Bowl, because we got proven we had the talent on the team. We just couldn't win the Super Bowl because the accountability and the coaching was not there for it. All right, final things I want to talk about, two things last, and it's with free agency that are not free agents for the Ravens. First off, the Patriots just released Stefon Diggs. And already people are saying, he's a fit for the Ravens. He's a fit for the Ravens. The Ravens should pick up Stefon Diggs. I am one to say right now, I think this is a bad idea. I really think that it is a bad idea for the Ravens to go out right now and go searching for a wide receiver in free agency that is older and going to suck up quite a bit of cap space, because without a doubt he will be demanding more money. He's 32 years old, and yes, has Stefon Diggs been a prime receiver in his prime years, but he's getting older. He's got some temperament issues. He's going to demand lots of money, and we've seen the Ravens do this strategy before by trying to bring in old wide receivers and inch the last little bit, squeeze out of them with OBJ, D-Hop, and now if you do it with Stefon Diggs again, I don't think that squeeze happens and it works for them. I just don't see that working out and being the way that it goes. So I don't like the idea of bringing Diggs in. If any way they should go, it should be bring in a wide receiver in the draft. I think that would be better. But the other interesting way that they could go wide receiver through free agency that I've also heard is there's interesting news that Lamar Jackson this offseason down in Florida has been training with Zay Flowers, which is normal. They always train together. They live near each other. So it's just easy for them to train together out there and to keep that chemistry going between the two of them. But apparently this past week, Lamar was out there training with Zay Flowers, and at the same time there was a second receiver out there with them who's a receiver on the Rams, and that would be Tutu Atwell, who's 26 years old, coming off the Rams, on SpotRec. He's projected to be about a $2 million contract as his value. So this is a $0.6 million contract is what he's expected to get. This is an interesting take on who the Ravens could bring in. He's a former second-round pick, and he wouldn't cost that much in free agency at 2.6. That's a budget receiver, and it could be an extra third depth just to add in there. And if you draft a receiver too, you now have 5 receivers, and you have Zay, you have Bateman, you have Tutu, you have whoever you draft, and you have Devontae, and you can let them battle it out for the rotation in whatever way it's seen. And it would just be something to add on in there, and I think this is a different, better approach than what the Ravens have been taking, going with an older wide receiver, and it's something to look out for, that if Lamar is doing more training with him, especially since the Rams are going to be negotiating a contract with him, it could be something that the Ravens target and bringing in somebody that Lamar has a little bit of chemistry with and has been working with in the offseason. So keep an eye out on that. And the final thing is adding to the defensive line, and I was going through the articles today. I read an interesting one that Gilberto Manzano, he made an interesting one that I liked, an interesting sort of idea that I really liked. And when thinking about it, it goes so well into how the Ravens could boost up their defense, is that, yes, even if Madubuike comes back out and the news is looking good for him, that they're expecting him to play this next year, and even if they take a defensive tackle and interior defensive lineman, which they should and better take in the draft, you still need more depth there, even if you have those 3 and Travis Jones. There's a budget defensive tackle out there that had 7.5 sacks this year that the Ravens could look at and get for $7.9 million, which is above it budget defensive tackle, and that's John Franklin Myers off the Broncos, who is a free agent this season. And his overall grade this past year was 61.3 and a pass rush of 68.9 and a run defense of 65.4. He had 10 tackles, 7.5 sacks, 5 assists. And it's not like, when looking at him, it's not one of those flashy pickups. That's not what I'm saying what it is. A flashy pickup that's going to be great and amazing for the Ravens. But I don't think the Ravens are looking for having a sole answer in free agent being brought in at defensive tackle. They're looking for depth. And this goes into, again, the best way you help your secondary and play complementary football and have a solid defense is by operating through the defensive line first. And now if you add him and draft a solid one, Madubuike comes back, and you have Travis Jones, you now have a solid 4 that you can go through rotations with that'll help you so much more, and you're just adding depth there that you can keep having multiple get sacks or putting pressure on the quarterback, and you're running through rotations and you're keeping fresh legs out there. It's not a flashy pick. It's not the answer to the Ravens defensive line. It won't be that. But what it will be is adding depth. And I really like this because if he gets 7.5 sacks again, Madubuike comes back and he gets 8 sacks, say Travis Jones gets 5, and then Mike Green takes a step forward and say he gets 6, 7, and then 6 or 7, and then one of your other edges gets another, say, 5 or 6. You've just tallied up a whole bunch of sacks right there. And yeah, it's not flashy that any single one of them is getting massive sack counts, but it means they're all getting back there consistently, and that's what you want. You want them all getting back there consistently, putting pressure on the quarterback, making the quarterback hurry up, getting them out of their zone, and that makes it easier for your secondary, which means less passing on the secondary, and it makes it a better time for the defense. The defense will play better. That's how you create a championship caliber defense, is by adding this depth like this, and this would be a depth. That's what I like about it. So, as we go forward into free agency here, I'm going to be creating more of a board of depth pickups that the Ravens can be looking at in free agency, because that's what I think they're going to start with. Is they're going to start with depth picks, and then where they add possibly a little more talent is going to be edge, and then they're going to need center. And those are going to be the 2 spots that they're probably going to spend bigger on. And then the others are going to just be sort of adding depth, like defensive tackle, cornerback, safety, wide receiver. Those are going to be areas where they're going to add depth and target really boosting those positions specifically and adding the talent there in the draft. And so I'm going to be creating a board of depth pickups that the Ravens could be having and focusing on big impact key players that the Ravens will probably target with center and edge, and making a board like that for free agency that we can have for the 11th. So that will be the plan going forward. Now, that is all I have for today. I know it's been a short podcast, but I really hope you all enjoy it. Again, if you really enjoy it, please consider subscribing, liking the video, sharing it, commenting, so I can get that segment up and running, because when you comment, I'm going to take those comments, not only respond to them, I'm going to take them and bring those top ones on here to the podcast, and we'll discuss them right here as a segment of the podcast. If you're on Spotify, please follow, leave a review, and also comment. I'll be doing the same thing there. Thank you so much all for joining in and listening. I really hope you enjoyed the content and what I'm putting out. I can't wait to catch you all next time. Have a great day.